2-minute long races, much closer and exciting racing with no additional parts required. You can fly any quad that you want. That's Joe Spec. It's FPV racing for the average Joe, and I'm going to tell you why I think you should give it a try. Now, spec racing has been done before. You have Freedom Spec, you have Street League, you have Pro Spec, just to name a few. But I was looking for a sweet spot between cost, fun, flight time, and speed. The point of any spec racing is to narrow the skill gap between an advanced pilot and a beginner pilot, making the racing more competitive. Spec racing in FPV has always been done by using the RPM limiter firmware in Betaflight. Now, if you don't know what this is or don't know how to install it, I'll go into that a bit later. Over weeks of testing different RPMs and collaboration with multiple pilots, 21,000 RPM was settled on for Joe Spec. Everyone was able to race for 2 minutes or more, and racing was much closer than it was with open class. I wanted to create a spec that didn't require buying additional parts, and Joe Spec does just that. Pilots are able to run whatever equipment they want, and there's no weight limit, so you don't have to worry about gluing lead weights to your frame. Joe Spec hits the sweet spot of 21,000 RPM. This allows for fast enough racing to have fun, while being slow enough to not break parts. With Joe Spec, you can run any 5-inch frame, any motor, any battery, any propeller. The barrier of entry for Joe Spec couldn't be any lower, and the fun factor couldn't be any higher. Passing in a Joe Spec race requires setting it up. It takes multiple corners and even multiple laps to make a clean pass. You can't just blow by someone like you can in an open class quad. The RPM limiter firmware allows this close racing, and Limon, one of the Betaflight developers, created a special version just for Joe Spec. If you notice on the screen, there's a rotating JS logo indicating that the pilot is on the correct RPM for Joe Spec. I want to thank Limon very much for doing this. Let's take a closer look at his video explaining the RPM limiter firmware. If you want to watch his entire video, I've left a link to that in the description.
Are you still here? Alright, let's go. Of course, you need latest Betaflight configurator, which is 10.9 as of today, or you can use configurator 10.10 development build if you're feeling adventurous. Go to Options tab and permanently enable Expert mode, then go to Firmware Flasher. Activate Show Release Candidates, enable Expert mode here and select Development. Then you can auto-detect your flight controller, and here is the magic. In this drop-down list, you will be able to select 442 CAC Special Release. As always, before flashing, save backup of your current settings. That way you can go back if something goes wrong. And for that, you can use Presets tab, Save Backup button. So flashing this special release is the same as flashing normal Betaflight, except here you just select this special release. Check your flight controller, check your radio protocol and other settings, click Load Firmware Online, wait till you see success here, and if you don't, you can try to click Load Firmware Online again, and click Flash Firmware. Apply custom default if you are asked, and there we go. Now you are super special. It's a regular Betaflight, which flies and tunes like normal, but it has a few extra features that you might be very excited about. At least I am very excited about. First of all, go to Presets tab and apply your previous backup, if your previous version was also 4.4, or you can set up everything from scratch like normal. And the first feature I am very excited about is RPM limiter. And we all need to say big thank you, huge thank you to Mr. Tanner for developing this awesome stuff. RPM limiter will be in the official Betaflight 4.5, but you can already start using it in this special release. By default, it's off, but when you activate it, get ready for some magic to happen. Every split second, RPM limiter checks the average RPM between your 4 motors, or 8 motors, whatever you fly. By the way, RPM stands for rotations per minute, it's just how fast your motors are spinning. Now you can take your regular 6S battery, turn on RPM limiter, and you will be equally slow as everyone else around. Even if someone uses fresh battery, look at that, and you have something like this. First of all, you absolutely need to make sure that you are flying bidirectional D-shot. Then you have to count number of magnets on the bell of your motor and put this value right here. This is very serious. Do not miss this step. And also this is very useful so that your RPM filters are working correctly. Most of the motors we're using have 14 magnets, but for example tiny whoop motors are mostly 12 poles. Then you can go to CLI and activate RPM limiter, but it's way easier to do with quick OSD menu. In case you didn't know, to open Betaflight OSD menu you need to put yaw to the left and then pitch up. If you have regular Betaflight, then you will see ordinary Betaflight menu. But if you have CAC mod flashed, then you will see a quick menu, which is so quick, it's crazy. By the way, this works everywhere: analog, HD0, DJI, Voxnail. Unless you have old DJI and you're too lazy to root it. Then you have to deal with CLI. And the first item you can see here is RPM limit. Go inside and just activate it or deactivate it. Easy as that. And don't forget to hit save and reboot after any of your changes. The second item in this submenu is your maximum RPM. It's your setting for how fast you want your motors to spin maximum. The default value 18,000. Third item here is your motor KV. It's not super important, but it helps RPM limiter to estimate your throttle cap during first few seconds of flight before you hit full throttle for the first time. Alright.
The first ever Joe Spec race is happening November 22nd, and I'm super excited to be announcing the race. I'll leave a link below to the sign up page for the event. So, what do you guys think? Are you going to give Joe Spec a try? It doesn't require any additional parts, and you can use whatever 5-inch quad you already have. My name's Lucas with Race Prep Multirotor. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.